What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down why I'm still very calm about Tesla, and why I do believe that this thing could come down just a little bit more, maybe fill this gap real quick, and then get a big bounce very, very soon. So I know that sounds like crazy. I know people may be kind of annoyed of hearing this, but I do believe that when you look at the charts, all right, if you look at what smart money is doing, it seems like they're getting ready for a big move to the upside in the markets, and that's also going to include Tesla. And I don't think it's going to happen maybe as soon as tomorrow, but I believe it's going to happen very soon, maybe by Friday or Monday of next week. So I'm going to show you exactly why, what smart money is doing, what SPY tells us about Tesla, what all of this means for the future. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 10 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is any could be a free Tesla share. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks plus the chance to win $60,000 in a very cool giveaway. Now, with all of this out of the way, guys, check out the offer before it ends. Offer ends in a week. And looking at Tesla, things are looking pretty decent. I don't think Tesla's dead as of right now. And I really believe that because 175 didn't hold, I did mention this as being a possibility yesterday, but I do believe that this thing is going to bounce still. And I know it doesn't even look like it from a technical standpoint, but we are starting to see very, very nice setups right here. We're starting to see a wick right here to the downside, and this is actually showing a sign of strength on Tesla. Now, we are kind of red though and below 175, so it is possible for Tesla to come down one last time, one major drop to about 170 before a huge bounce. And you're probably wondering, all right, why on earth would Tesla bounce? Why on earth is Tesla going to, in my opinion, get a big push to the upside? I believe smart money is essentially bullish. I believe that smart money is still buying these dips if you're watching order flow in real time because they believe we're going to see another rally to the upside, a small one, not a huge one. And let me show you some potential proof of that. Looking at SPY, all right, let's zoom out a bit. What do you guys notice something? History is repeating itself, all right? The top of this rally appears to be this 410 zone, exactly where the rejection area was from the broadening descending wedge, just like this, right? We have one rejection, two rejections, three rejections. Now the fourth one just happened. But what do you notice about the charts? Watch this. The first time we get a rejection, this was back in like January of 2022, the market comes tumbling down. Then we got a big bounce. Smart money was just buying and buying and buying, like around here. Then all of a sudden, we have a nice wick right here at the bottom and a big push up. So SPY crashed to about $450. It bounced and went all the way up to about 468. So that's a pretty big move for SPY's standards before this thing began to capitulate and end up coming down more and more before we started to see both smart and dumb money beginning to capitulate and panic came in. Now, going forward to right here, the March rally that happened. Remember what happened in March? The market had this big rally. We pushed up very hard. Tesla pushed up too. SPY hit what? $458. Then we came down pretty hard. We went from 458, and after like a little over a week, we crashed all the way down to about 430. And then immediately after, some more data comes out. This thing goes from 430 all the way back up to about 446. So huge drop, big bounce before the continuation. Just like what happened right over here. We pushed all the way up to the top of this trend line, big drop, bounce, continuation to the downside. Now let's look in August, not March, August. Something very similar happened. Huge rally. We hit about 430 per share on SPY. Market comes tumbling down. This was back in August. Then what happened? People were panicking, they were giving up, and then smart money starts buying like crazy right here, getting ready for a couple of green days. And you could see we got a huge bounce. 2 days later, SPY went from 410 all the way up to almost 420. So it had a big bounce before the big drop. So historically, the market tends to actually run in patterns and seems to be repeating itself again. Just to clarify, it happened 3 times already. The rejection off the upper trend line, a big drop, a small bounce, big drop. Right here, big push up, rejection off the trend line, small drop, a bit of a bounce followed by another big drop. Right here in March, big push up, rejection off the upper trend line, big drop, bounce, the next leg down. What's happening to SPY right now? We got the first stage of this quote unquote bear rally that we have entered. In this bear rally, we got a big rejection off here. We came all the way down. We basically came very close to the demand zone around this 390 range. We could even see it be touched tomorrow. But I wouldn't be surprised, as crazy as this makes me sound, if we actually get a big bounce. Because smart money is not capitulating. They're still buying these dips. They're not giving up. Whereas dumb money, and I know I'm just using these terms, retail, people like you and me, we're panicking, we're scared, we think the market's about to crash. Instead, it might just do the opposite. For the short term, we might see the market push up. And what could actually trigger that? The answer is it's not going to be just solely based off technicals. We have big data coming out. We have PPI coming out for Friday, right? For Friday, we have PPI coming out, the producer price index. This is going to be very important when it comes to the consensus of the Fed and other big factors from a macroeconomic standpoint. Then we also have CPI coming out for next week and also the FOMC meeting. And you guys know how much Jerome Powell and these big events can move the markets. I'm sure you guys have been watching for the past few months. They move the market like crazy. So I believe it's very possible, and this happens to align with where this trend is, for SPY to actually get a bounce. I'm going to be more conservative when I say this. We could actually get a bounce. I don't know about tomorrow, but maybe Friday or Monday of next week. Big bounce, we retest 400 on SPY. And if we break 400, if this thing starts pushing up again, I'm going to be watching this ascending wedge, which we already broke out of because now previous support becomes resistance. So with that said, this is more of a technical uh, a setup where you get this big bounce and you're going to retest this previous support as resistance and maybe get rejected around there. So it could actually run to about 404, 405 over the next week. It is still very possible if we get the big bounce. Now, I can't just give you guys the bullish possibility. I also have to talk about the bearish possibility. If this thing breaks below like 390 flat and it fails to actually hold this demand zone, it's very possible that we can end up coming down to the 380s. If we do not get buyers coming in again, just hypothetically tomorrow, if everyone starts selling, including smart money, so far they haven't sold, but if they do start selling and the whole market collapses in a way, we could see this thing just come tumbling down. But so far it hasn't really happened yet. We've been holding 390. So it makes me believe that it's more likely we see a nice bounce unless there's some big piece of news that causes the opposite to happen, which has not happened just yet. I'm still more inclined to thinking the market's going to slowly hold these levels maybe tomorrow, and by Friday, if not Monday of next week, we start pushing up. Now, what does this have to do with the market in Tesla? For Tesla is actually dropping down, but it hasn't completely invalidated the inverse head and shoulders formation. This is still very valid and still very possible. Let me actually do this with my chart so it's easier to see. I believe what's likely to happen is if the whole market's going to bounce tomorrow, this could be the time for Tesla to bounce. If not, Tesla could come down to about 170. And I would anticipate a lot of buyers to come around here. Tesla could come down a little bit more since 175 didn't hold. So if Tesla does come down to this level, if the market gets a big rally for like Friday or even Monday of next week, Tesla should get a big bounce off that, start pushing up and slowly approaching the 180s plus, maybe go even higher than that as we get closer to CPI and the FOMC meeting. Also, depending on CPI, if the market gets an even bigger rally, this could actually help push Tesla up too. So please be very, very mindful that, look, things could look super bearish in one instance, and then all of a sudden, economic data comes out and causes the whole market to just reverse, and it could actually cause people to just throw technicals away and start buying in a very different state. So sentiment could really shift depending on economic data, and that's the reason why it is still very possible for Tesla to bounce, not to mention the historical trends for the market and SPY. So for that reason, I want to just note, all right, I believe the most likely possibility for Tesla is we either bounce tomorrow and we start pushing back up. We see this thing slowly hit about 180 and we just start pushing up from there. Or this thing comes down, fills the gap around this 170 level. We start to base around here as soon as tomorrow. And then for like Friday, Monday of next week, Tuesday, CPI comes out and like the FOMC meeting, this thing gets a big, big, big reversal and we start pushing up from there all the way back into the 180s or even higher than that. It could be even more violent because of this setup, right? The whole inverse head and shoulders formation could still technically be valid because of the fact that Tesla would not have dropped that hard. So as long as this thing does not drop, in my opinion, below like 170, as long as we hold 170, it is still possible for this to play out. And we know one thing about Tesla, this thing can move very fast when the time is right. So I wouldn't necessarily count this out. So with that said, let's watch for tomorrow. For more specific levels about this, it's firstly important to note that Tesla now has resistance around this 175 range. This was previous support becoming resistance. And if we break above 175, 177, and then 180 are going to be the next resistance levels. We also have a gap around 179, which could get filled relatively soon. If Tesla comes down, I'm going to be watching, first off, 170 flat. That's a psychological level. And if that doesn't hold, I mean, I think it's most likely going to hold. But if that's not the case, then that 166 can come back. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Tesla's more likely to try to base around 170 and hopefully bounce off this and continue pushing up from there. And this thing should, over the next few days, come back to 179 to fill the gap. And depending on the economic data, historically, the market tends to bounce relatively soon after these big rejections off these levels. So that in turn could actually help Tesla start to push up over the next couple of trading days. Now, I know I mentioned this being very possible for a very short period of time, but I think I've been a little bit early on that claim, but I still stand by it. I still think it's very likely to happen. Anyways, guys, that's essentially what I have for this video. I did not make this one too complicated. I'm not feeling the best today. But anyways, I just want the best for all of you guys. Please watch both support and resistance levels and be prepared for anything. The worst thing to happen to Tesla, let me just talk about that as well, just in case things don't go as planned, because news could come out at any given moment that you least expect, is we need this thing to hold 170. If it breaks below that, I'm going to become very concerned about this thing. All right? I'm going to become very concerned. But if this thing, as long as it holds 170, either bounces off that or it just, starts rallying tomorrow, it's going to be completely fine. All right. So, anyways, like I said, thank you all for listening. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, because the long term future is still incredibly bright. And peace out.